McDonald's South Africa is creating employment pathways for 2,000 young people through a new Hospitality Learnership Programme. The initiative, in partnership with CATHSSETA, aims to provide practical skills and workplace experience amid South Africa's high youth unemployment. Now, for the latest on the program, we crossed live to SABC News anchor Mfundo Mabalane on Grayston Drive in Sandton. This is being positioned as an employment pathway rather than simply another training program. We'll take a look at what that pathway actually looks like, from recruitment to classroom learning to practical workplace experience and ultimately potential employment. Well, as soon as we get the line up to Mfundo, we'll definitely be in conversation with her, because this is such a noble initiative by CATHSSETA, which is being implemented by CATHSSETA. But as soon as Mfundo is ready, we'll definitely go back to her. But I'm getting advisory that Mfundo Mabalane is now standing by to take us through this noble initiative. A very good morning to you, Mfundo. Thank you so much for joining us. Just considering that this is being positioned as an employment pathway rather than simply another training program, just take us through, Mfundo, what that pathway looks like in terms of recruitment and classroom learning, in terms of practical workplace experience and ultimately potential employment.
A very good morning to you, Simpiwe, and to our viewers. You've correctly stated that this is a pathway to employment, but a very necessary one, or significant one, because a bit earlier on we're actually speaking to CATHSSETA on the number of individuals who have taken part in this program and actually went on to be absorbed. The figures as they stand now, 75% of those who are part of the learnership would generally be absorbed. And those are the kind of results that many people want to hear of, because you don't want to be training for the sake of training and people don't go into the world of work, where you've still got a significant amount of the youth on the periphery of this economy. So there really is impact when it comes to this specific initiative. But joining us now to speak a bit further on the initiative and why actually they decided as an entity or as private sector to come in on board and assist in just addressing the scourge of unemployment in the country is McDonald's Chief People's Officer, Dr. Mamelo Masia. A very good morning to you, Doctor. Thank you very much for joining us on the SABC. Let's perhaps start with just that decision of McDonald's to go this route, because there are many people who vilify the private sector to say they're essentially for profit. Any opportunity to mechanize, automate, that's the route they go and remove people. But you've decided, beyond your own mandate of profit, you've gone the route of saying we want to address the scourge or this crisis of unemployment. It doesn't solely rest on government, it rests on us as the private sector. Why this decision?
You've actually answered it. We as a business are a corporate citizen that's responsible, and we've taken upon ourselves to play a role in addressing the scourge. And the best way to do it is we have 422 restaurants across the country, and 35% of them are for franchisees and the balance are corporate restaurants. And in those corporate restaurants, we have made a promise that the employees who accrue in the restaurants will be from the learnership. So the learnership, in essence, is a pipeline to our crew who work in the restaurants. So we are quite intentional about it as a business, that it's not just to train, but it is actually to create a pipeline into talent that goes into our business. So in our planning as well as a business, we have created an opportunity that it will not be a by-the-way situation when they're done with their studies. We have mapped out a proper model that intensifies the fact that the restaurants require X number of people to be able to work. And therefore, in the design, the learners will be able to fit in squarely into the restaurants. So as much as we're addressing unemployment, which is a responsible corporate citizen in McDonald's, but we are also adding talent into our business in order for continuity as a business. So there's that organic approach to it, as much as there's also an element of ensuring that we address unemployment in this country.
I'm glad. I mean, just hearing that statement, it speaks to a meaningful intention to actually make sure that they get into the world of work. And I know some of them go on to work elsewhere even after the training. But let's talk about your role as a Chief People's Officer. What would be your role in facilitating that skills transfer that will take place here? And also talk us through the day-to-day that these 2,000 recruits will be going through on a daily basis as they embark on this journey.
So the intention of the program is to ensure that 70% of the time that our learners spend learning by experience. by working in the restaurants. And then 30% of the time they spend in class learning theory. So we have, as the CEO of CATHSSETA stated earlier, that we have curated an accredited program, which is a national certificate within the hospitality industry to help prepare young people who ordinarily wouldn't have had a qualification, young people who probably just made it up to matric and sometimes may not have truly made it, to be able to have hope and a future with us by acquiring a qualification that ordinarily they may not have been able to be exposed to. So that is one element. And this time around, our Hamburger University, which is on the 3rd floor from where we are, has been accredited to be able to deliver this program. So we have some students, because we are across, the learners are actually across the country. So in Gauteng, we have a few venues, including Hamburger University, where our facilitators are actually imparting the knowledge. And then we would have some learners in different provinces where similar programs are being delivered. And upon them either completing, then they then get to go to the restaurant and be exposed to the training that they acquired theoretically and get to train in real life in our restaurants.
Unfortunately,
they actually form part of our business. We treat them as employees, even though one would think they're learners. They are really part of this business from the word go. Yeah.
I suppose also organizational culture, just hearing that from you is quite important to know that even mentally they would be protected. They are not excluded and seen as just learners. You say they are fully incorporated into the system. But just in closing, for those listening at home and wanting to be part of this, because no matter how small a salary is, it's a salary. It restores dignities. This is a paycheck that will assist in households where there is no money. How can one partake, perhaps in the next phase?
Okay. We do get to go public to advertise, and you'll get to know about it. We have partners in recruitment that we have publicized. We work in partnership with Harambee. You'll probably know a lot about Harambee. They're very proud at helping us address the scourge of unemployment. They are our partners. So through such adverts, the public gets to know about it. But secondly, if you go to our restaurants and you ask about it, you will be referred to the right places as to how best to apply. We usually have posters that have a QR code, and when you scan that QR code, it will direct you where to place your CV. And it's also important to establish that we are clear that young people from the age of 27 and below are really hit by the unemployment levels, and we are trying to cater largely for that category of young people. But lastly, we seem to be attracting graduates as well, yes, which is a fascinating occurrence, because one would think, because we advertised post-matric, that you would get only young people that who have only studied up to matric. Because unemployment is so dire in our country, even young people who are graduates from various tertiary institutions, whether TVET or universities, seem to be applying and being interested in this opportunity.
No, it's honestly quite concerning what you're stating there, that you would have even some graduates opting for this route, which truly does speak to the situation right now when it comes to unemployment, that even they are struggling to find work in South Africa today. Still, again, very commendable initiative. Well, Simphiwe, you've heard it for yourself here, that really there is some meaningful impact. We've heard about the absorption rate. A number of them are not just being trained, they're actually absorbed by McDonald's. Those who do not want and decline, they go to work elsewhere. So we are really seeing what takes place, or the effects of true public-private partnerships. We'll leave it there for now and touch base with you a bit later on in the day as the festivities progress here from McDonald's.